If you're looking to use the brand new no backup plans buff while being a killing machine with a shotgun, then this is the build for you. What's up guys, Surfing's here, back with another Destiny 2 video. Today's video, like I said in the intro, we're going to be going over the new backup plans, what the buff was, also giving you 3 exotic shotgun options here. Of course, one of them being conditional finality. The 2 you'll figure out a little bit later. Of course, as always, I'll be going over every single fragment, ability, aspect, as well as all the armor mods and weapons that'll go best with this build. And as always, the dim link will be down in the description below. And if you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now let's dive right in. Since no backup plans has to do with overshield, I figured it'd be best to go with Void. The super here I'm going to be using is going to be Ward of Dawn. Of course, we're going to be able to use her bubble to get weapons of light, get extra damage, but also being able to hide from enemies if we need, or, get our overshield or health back up, whatever we need to do. Bubble is a very safe pick. For the abilities here, I chose to use Towering Barricade. That way I can kind of barricade myself from enemies a little bit better, especially if we're trying to get overshield and let our normal health regen. For the movement ability, I chose to use Strafe Lift because I feel it's the best. For the melee ability, I chose to use Shield Throw. That way, if I'm not right in an enemy's face and can get overshield that way, I'll be able to throw a shield at them and get overshield from a distance. For the grenade ability, I chose to use Vortex Grenade just because I feel like that one's probably one of the best Void grenades. However, I do feel like Scatter Grenade also is pretty good now. So either one of those is what I'd recommend. Moving on to the aspects now. For the first one, we're going to be choosing Offensive Bulwark. While you have an overshield or you're inside Ward of Dawn, your grenade charges significantly faster. You have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows extend the duration of overshield. So with this, it's a good way to extend our overshield while also being able to punch enemies in the face. Next up, we have Bastion. Cast your super to grant overshield to nearby allies. Casting your barricade grants overshield to yourself and nearby allies and empowers it, enabling it to slowly regenerate the overshield of allies, bunkering behind it, and extend their overshield duration. So again, using your barricade here, it's going to be able to get you shield as well. Now onto the fragments here. The first one I chose to use was Echo of Reprisal. Final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. Then we have Echo of Undermining. Your Void grenades weaken targets, which is going to be pretty huge. Whenever they're weakened, of course, they take increased damage, which is super awesome. Then we have Echo of Persistence, which Void buffs applied to you, like Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour, have increased duration. And then Echo of Harvest. Defeating weakened targets create an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. So every time you throw a grenade at somebody and then you kill them, they're going to drop a Void Breach and an Orb of Power, so that'll be very beneficial to the build as well. Next up here, we're going to look at the stats that I'm going to recommend. Of course, like always, I'm going to recommend Resilience tier 10. That way you can get your 30% damage reduction. For this build, there's really nothing else specific, so I'm going to just say Discipline so you can get your grenade cooldown as fast as possible. And not only that, maybe Recovery as well. That way you can get your actual health back. Even though you have Overshield, of course, enemies can eat through that very fast. So getting your normal health back will be very helpful. Now we're going to look at the artifact mods that I chose to use. As always, if you're using this in a different season and these artifact mods don't apply to you, you can still use this build. It's just the artifact mods give you a little bit of a bonus. First one I chose to use was Onto the Breach. Defeating a Void debuff target creates a Void Breach while your Void subclass is equipped. Then we have Protective Breach. Picking up a Void Breach gives you an overshield or refreshes your existing overshield. And then lastly, we have Counter Charge. Gain a stack of armor charge when you stun a champion. This one's just going to be a universal, really good one for this season. Now here I'm going to be going over all the armor mods that I chose to use for this one. All the armor mods that I have here right now are going to be for the conditional finality. Of course, if you're choosing one of the other 2 shotguns, you'll be able to change it up depending on what shotgun you choose. But for right now, all the mods are going to be for the first shotgun I'm going to show you. Here I chose to use the Solar Siphon mod. Rapid Solar Weapon Final Blows create an Orb of Power. This has been tested to work really good on conditional finality. Ashes to Assets gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. And then lastly, Special Ammo Finder increases the drop chance of special ammo on kill. Of course, so we can get ammo for our shotgun. Next here, we're going to be going on to the arms, and this is where we're going to be using our exotic slot, no backup plans. It just got a huge rework, so of course I had to make a build on it, and it seems like it's going to be pretty good. The armor perk here is going to be Force Multiplier. While using a Void subclass, Rapid Shotgun Final Blows or defeating a powerful combatant with a shotgun will grant you Void Overshield and start health regeneration. While you have a Void Overshield, Shotgun deals additional damage, and Shotgun Final Blows refresh the Overshield. Provides a moderate benefit to Shotgun airborne effectiveness and reload speed. So this is obviously going to help you get overshield. All you have to do is basically stick your shotgun in people's faces, get multi-kills, and that way you'll be able to recharge your health. The mods I chose to use here were going to be Stasis Dexterity, Faster Ready and Stow Speeds for Stasis Weapons. Then we have Bolstering Detonation, which grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. And then we have Focusing Strike, which grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. This way you'll be able to get your barricade up faster. Now moving on to the chest here, we have Stasis Reserves, which increases the amount of ammo you can carry for stasis weapons. Then we have Charged Up, which increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. And then for the last slot, I chose to throw on an arc resist mods, just because what I was doing, there's a lot of arc damage. Of course, any resist mod will reduce the amount of damage you take from combatants. Now as we move on to the legs here, I chose to use a Void Weapon Surge. That's because the secondary weapon I'm using is going to be Void. Of course, if this is different for you, then you can change it. Here we have the Stasis Weapon Surge, that way you'll be able to buff any stasis damage that you're doing. It also counts for both shots of Conditional Finality, which is going to be sweet for the synergy. And then we have Absolution, which reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb of power. And then lastly, for the Titan mark here, I chose to use Reaper, which after using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. Time Dilation, which your decaying armor charge has a longer duration. And then Bomber, reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Now I'm going to be moving over to the weapons here, and the ones that I'm going to recommend. I'm going to give you 3 exotic choices here. First one, of course, I've been mentioning all video, Conditional Finality. This is the Raid Shotgun from Root of Nightmares. This one's intrinsic trait is going to be Split Decision, dual barrels split in stasis and solar damage. So your first shot is going to be a stasis shot, freeze the enemy, and the second shot is going to be a solar shot, which basically almost sticks a grenade to it, and then it explodes. This gun right now is insanely popular, and it's actually incredibly good. This one is the one that I chose to recommend at first. However, after I started making this build, I did see that there was a better shotgun out there for damage-wise. However, I did not have that one. We will be going over that option after the second option, which the second option here is going to be Duality. Of course, the intrinsic trait of this one is going to be Compression Chamber. Fires a pellet, spread, and hip fire, or a single high damage slug while aiming. This one I saw a lot of people enjoyed using as well. The pellet final blows grant a stacking precision damage and reload speed buff. Precision hits with slugs extend the duration as well. So definitely give this one a try. But the third and final one that I'm going to recommend here is going to be Legend of Acreus. This one apparently right now is incredibly strong. Unfortunately, I do not have this one unlocked, so I'm going to have to do some spoil grinding. But once you do that, of course, you can get it from the kiosk. The intrinsic trait here is going to be Shock Blast. This weapon fires blasts of high damage arc energy that overpenetrates enemies. I've been seeing recent gameplay of people hitting over 150,000 damage in one shot. So this is a boss melter. So if there's one that I had to really recommend for boss DPS or champ DPS, it's definitely going to be this guy. Of course, I just didn't have it, but I did have the Ron Raid Shotgun, so I guess I'll take what I can get. Overall, I think this build is incredibly fun, and it's actually pretty viable. I do feel like the overshield can get eaten pretty fast if you're not getting enough kills or recharging it fast enough. That's kind of why I built this build around getting as much overshield as possible. If you enjoy the video at any time, be sure to leave a like on the video, and if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got tons of Destiny 2 content on the channel right now, and of course, we have a lot more on the way, so make sure you guys stay tuned to that. Appreciate all the support lately, it means a lot to me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.